from the team side, we just took the safer option. I mean, we could also pit straight away, and we discussed it, but there's also a risk that you get blocked because we are the first team, of course, so more cars are coming in, and it's a big risk. And also, if there would have been a safety car, you lose out even more. So we didn't want to do that, and I was absolutely fine with that. So we did one lap on the extremes where they were very slow. So I knew that I would lose out one position, but then as soon as I drove out of the pit lane within a lap, I could see we were miles faster. So it was not really a big problem.
I think we did the right call, made the right call to box straight away, got ourselves in a winning position, and yeah, we just didn't have enough pace after. So happy with everything we did. There was nothing more left in that, so a very good day.
I'm super happy. I'm super happy for the whole team. We've been pretty unlucky in the recent events, and then we managed to put a very strong qualifying this morning, put it in P6, took the risk at the right time, fit the inters, and fight until the end to try to hold on Lewis right behind, to be able to put a strong performance at this time, and also personally in Spa, which is obviously a very special track. With Antoine and what's happened, the history of the track, it's a very meaningful third place.
I think today was all about that pit stop. No, if you look where everyone finished, it's how that pit stop went with the chaos of the pit lane. And for some reason this weekend, this time I don't know if it was the position in the pit lane, the traffic, or we were just too cautious, or we had a slow pit stop. But we simply went back 3 or 4 positions, and that was our race.
If I would have stopped behind Carlos, I would have lost much more. So we did the right decision as a team, but unfortunately for me, it didn't pay off. And then we also had a slow stop on my side, which is where we need to look at, because it's been few races that now we've been struggling a little bit more on pit stops.
Happy with how the race went. I don't think we could have done a lot more. I think we obviously couldn't box on the first lap. We could have done, but then it's hard to know if you're going to lose a lot more because of traffic and things like that. So I think with what we tried to achieve was the correct thing. Of course, we lost time to certain people, but that's just the way it is. You get unlucky in those kind of things.
It was great to see you fighting out there, and I thought it was a decent move on Checo, and you obviously got that 5-second penalty, so I just wanted your thoughts on that, really.
I feel like it was a racing incident, but it does feel like it was a racing incident, and in the trickiest of conditions, but I was more than halfway up alongside him, but a bit unfortunate. We're supposed to be racing out there, and those sorts of penalties just deter you from racing and what they're expecting us to do. It's the trickiest conditions out there. So
it's been a pretty rubbish weekend so far, but today was a good race. I think we was the fastest car on track after Max. It was my decision to pit one lap after the restart, which ultimately was the wrong call, and I lost 2 or 3 positions, but made 3, 4, 5 overtakes, came back to P8, very close to P5 actually. I think 2 more laps we could have been P5, and for a 6-lap race I think that's pretty decent. Qualifying and the single lap stuff this weekend have been really off the pace. I haven't felt comfortable in the car, felt on a bit of a knife's edge, and almost every corner I felt like I was going to crash, and just couldn't lean on it.
Happy, for Pierre, happy that obviously we got the result, with one car. I think it was important after such a difficult period of time, where we were not really scoring points. So I'm glad that he did it today. I think at least, that's one consolation that we get from the last couple of races. And today, unfortunately, it was only one car could pit at the right time, and that's where it cost our race.
Perez went off. I knew I was 9th. I saw him go off, so I was like, all right, we're 8th. I have a point, but a few laps to go, it started to become real tricky. Couldn't hold the tyres any longer, and as the others were probably improving, we were really struggling. And so for that, I wish the race was a bit shorter, but in saying that, I think it's learnings for us, and to understand why we obviously lost quite a bit of the tyre in those last few laps.
What was it like out there in those conditions?
Yeah, tricky. Just not much grip, and struggling out there today.
It was tricky, really tricky out there today. It's been tricky all weekend. This greasy weather is not good for us. It just seems to overheat the tyres, and I know everyone's overheating, but it feels like we're struggling with it a bit more, especially the rears. So it was It's a tough race. I'm still a little bit worried about the Deg. I think this weekend we've been struggling with Deg, which is not normally like us too much. So we need to kind of go around it. But so far this weekend, we definitely normally we do rain dances, and this weekend we did a dry one.
What was positive today that actually the pace relative to the cars around felt good. So tomorrow the starting position is better, so that gives a bit more hope.
We heard you on team radio kind of talking about the track dry, and did you fancy a go and maybe on the slick tyres at some point towards the end?
Yeah, it was ready. I think it was past the crossover, but there was just not enough laps to make up that pit stop loss in a sprint race. So didn't go for it at the end, but yeah, it's pretty gnarly when you can't see anything. So when they called the rolling start at the beginning, I was pretty surprised because we still couldn't see a thing. I mean, you might as well close your eyes. It's that bad. So, you know, coming down to turn 5, of course, when you get into the corners, you can see again because the speed is that much lower. But going on the straight, you literally can see nothing. So it's pretty scary.
For me, it was a completely blind session, to be honest. Only the last 3 laps I was able just to finally see where I was going. Still can't see much rouge before breaking to turn 5. So yeah, the spray was generate the biggest issue, to be honest, rather than the track. The track was most drying up quite quickly, but the spray behind following, it was impossible to have any visibilities.
I think considering I had to be the second Williams to stop, we were always going to be at a disadvantage, and only finished a few seconds behind Alex. So I think it was pretty much extracted the maximum from our situation today. Potentially could have had a slightly better Q2 finishing that lap, but other than that, it hasn't been too bad.
We were in the group that pitted right on lap 1 when the safety car came in. We picked up a bunch of places, but didn't really have the pace to cut through. The car was difficult to drive. I had one off in turn 15 into the gravel and damaged the floor as well.
Did you have a moment at the final restart right at the chicane in the final sector?
Yeah, luckily I didn't have any damage, but I felt quite strange what I had there. Just overall, rear was feeling strange. I didn't feel any grip at all.
No, we had a lot of damage from Lewis. He basically took the whole right-hand side of the car. So once we realized about the damage, we retired.
What do you make of that incident? He obviously got a 5-second time penalty, but what do you think of his...
Well, that meant game over on my race. Anyway, I look forward for tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we can recover those points.
I touched the curb or the white line or whatever, and I lost the car. I was very close to Nico, so I lost a little bit of rhythm into that corner. We were out of the points anyway. I think today impossible to be in the top 8. So if one time you have to have a DNF, maybe better today than any other day.